Hey, what's going on? Today we're going to talk about proactive member communication and why waiting until issues arise could be costing your gym. So, my name is Josh Vandergrift. I own a 7-figure kickboxing school. And with that said, let's go ahead and dive in. So, first off, most gym owners only reach out when there's a problem. So, whether a credit card fails or a member hasn't shown up in a while. So, problem with this is members are going to feel like they're just another transaction. In the case of reaching out when they haven't shown up, they might feel good about it, but if we're proactive about keeping them there, it's going to be a lot better, right? So anyway, when we're reactive, there's less trust, there's less loyalty, and there's missed opportunities to engage and retain members, right? You get to learn from these conversations. So why connect with someone before the issues arise? So it strengthens your relationship with the members because you're having one-on-one conversations. It shows that you care about their goals and progress. It builds trust, increasing member retention and satisfaction. And you can learn a lot about your program having these one-on-one candid conversations. So people may not feel comfortable talking about certain things while they're in the gym setting, but when you call them on the phone and you talk to them, they might open up a little bit more about maybe issues that you haven't seen and things like that. So very important to have these conversations. So when you do proactive communication, members are going to feel more valued. They're more likely to reach out to you when they need help. And this is super important because if they're having some sort of an issue and they're afraid to reach out, then what's going to happen? They're going to churn, right? So again, this also reduces the likelihood of issues such as poor attendance. So we're going to talk about how to build a system using Airtable to keep track of everybody. So this system is going to keep them engaged consistently. We're going to do it every 21 days. And then we're going to just automate friendly check-ins and reminders and encourage members to stay connected with you and your gym. So let's dive in. So this is Airtable. If you have a CRM that accomplishes this, great. If you don't, and most CRMs don't do exactly what we're doing here, you're going to have some sort of offline process or secondary process to do this. And that's what we're going to cover here. So anyway, this is Airtable. The first thing you're going to want to do is put all of your people in here. So you can just import a CSV to get started. And then anytime you get a new member, you can set up an automation to automatically add a new row with their name, phone number, and email. Okay. So we also want to keep a set of notes. That way we can record what we talked about on the conversation. That way the next time we call them, or if somebody else calls them, they can reference back to the notes from the previous conversation. And again, this makes it feel like the communication is seamless with the client. So let's start with how this actually works. So the first thing is we have this last contacted at field, which is when we last reached out to them. And you would only update this if you actually got a hold of them. If you didn't get a hold of them, then you wouldn't update the field because that means you still haven't contacted them, right? So it's not whether or not you dialed the phone, it's whether or not they actually picked up. We also want to keep a status, right? And so the three options for the status are on track, slipping, and off track. So when I do my check-in, if the person has been attending regularly, then they're on track. If they're currently on track and they have not been attending regularly, then we're going to mark them as slipping. Now, if they get to the next check-in and they still haven't been attending regularly, we're going to move them to off track. So I already talked about the notes. So let's talk about how to build this and how to set this up. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to add a filter, and we're going to filter by last contacted at, and we're going to filter where it's either empty or it's before 21 days ago, right? So we're going to contact them every 3 weeks. That means if you have 300 members and you do these calls every single day, you're basically going to call about 15 people per day on any given shift. So we're also going to sort this by earliest to latest, so we are contacting the highest priority people at all times. So when I start my shift, it's as simple as this. So I'm going to go to Sophie, I'm going to look at her check-ins, and it looks like she's now on track. So I'm going to mark her as on track. I'm going to make the call. I'm going to put in my notes. Sophie had a big work convention, but now she's back on track, looking to XYZ goal. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as the last note. And then I'm going to mark last contacted to today. And then now you can see that Sophie has dropped off my list. I'm going to make my next call. And if they pick up and we talk, I'm going to mark it as today. I'm going to set their status, etc. Now, if you're done, meaning there's nobody else to call, your job is over, right? Or you make your 15 calls, your job is over, right, for that particular shift. Now, the cool thing is the person is not going to show back up in here until at least 21 days has passed. And so once 21 days has passed, then they're going to show back up in this list, and you'll know to reach out to them again. So it kind of automates this process for you, and it's a very simple process, right? But we do this to keep track of our members and to keep them engaged. Hopefully this works for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave it down in the comments below. And if there's anything else you want me to cover related to gyms, also let me know in the comments below. See you in the next one.